Imagine for a moment that the creator of the universe, the one who spoke the stars into existence, is also the author of your love story. Imagine that before you were even born, he had already woven a plan so intricate, so perfect, that at the right time, in the right place, he would introduce you to the one he had chosen for you. Not by accident, not by luck, but by divine design. We live in a world where love is often rushed, relationships are built on fleeting emotions, and many settle for less than what God intended. But what if love is not something we chase, but something we receive in God's perfect timing? What if the delays, the disappointments, and even the heartbreaks were not obstacles, but divine preparations leading you to something far greater? Today I want to take you on a journey of faith, patience, and trust in the one who holds all things together. A journey that will open your eyes to how God introduces you to your soulmate in a way that is beyond human understanding. This is not just about finding love. This is about discovering God's purpose in love. So, open your heart, silence the distractions, and lean in with expectation. Because what you are about to hear may just change the way you see love forever. Love, as the world defines it, is often centered on personal happiness, fleeting emotions, and a sense of completeness that another human being is expected to provide. Yet, when God introduces someone to their soulmate, his purpose is far greater than simply fulfilling human desires. Love is not about self-fulfillment, but about reflecting the very nature of God himself. It is a calling, a responsibility, and a means through which his love is made visible in the world. The purpose of love is not to make life easier or to eliminate loneliness, but to glorify God through the unity of two people who, together, become a testimony of his grace, patience, and redemption. God designed love as not a passive experience but an active pursuit of holiness. It is not about finding someone who makes life effortless, but about becoming someone who serves, sacrifices, and gives in the way that Christ has loved us. Many people approach relationships with a consumer mindset, expecting another person to complete them, fix their insecurities, and provide them with endless emotional satisfaction. But God does not bring two people together simply to gratify one another. He brings them together so they may sharpen, challenge, and encourage each other in their faith. A soulmate, in the truest sense, is not just someone who makes us feel good, but someone who pushes us closer to Christ. The greatest example of love is seen in Jesus Christ, who laid down his life for his people. Biblical love is not self-seeking, but sacrificial. It does not say, "What can I get from this?" but, "How can I give in this?" A love that truly reflects God's purpose is one that seeks to serve rather than be served, to build up rather than to tear down, to remain steadfast rather than to waver in times of difficulty. Godly relationships are not free from challenges, nor are they immune to struggles, but they endure because they are built upon a foundation stronger than emotions. Faith in God's unchanging character. When God introduces two people, he does so with the intention that their love will mirror his love for the church. Just as Christ loved his bride with unwavering commitment, so too should relationships be marked by faithfulness, patience, and grace. When love is viewed through this lens, it becomes more than a feeling. It becomes an act of worship, a means of refining character, and a reflection of God's unending love for his people. Those who wait upon the Lord, trusting in his purpose, will find that the love he provides is far deeper, richer, and more fulfilling than anything the world could ever offer. In a world driven by instant gratification, the idea of waiting for the right person in God's perfect timing can feel frustrating and even unnecessary. Many believe that if love is something good, then it must be pursued as quickly as possible, without delay. Yet God does not operate according to human impatience. He is never in a hurry, nor does he rush to satisfy temporary desires at the expense of eternal purpose. When God introduces someone to their soulmate, he does so at precisely the right moment, not a second too early or too late. His timing is not meant to test endurance, but to prepare hearts, align paths, and ensure that the relationship is built on the right foundation. There is great danger in rushing ahead of God's plan. Many people, in their eagerness to find love, force relationships that were never meant to be. They settle for less than God's best out of fear that waiting too long means missing out. But a relationship that is not rooted in God's timing is like fruit picked before it is ripe. What was meant to be sweet becomes bitter. What was meant to bring joy instead brings sorrow. The enemy often tempts believers to take matters into their own hands, whispering that God is slow, that perhaps he has forgotten, that maybe he needs a little help in arranging a love story. Yet every time in Scripture that people attempted to rush ahead of God, whether it was Abraham and Hagar, Saul's disobedience, or Israel's impatience, they found themselves in unnecessary struggles. God is not withholding love to be cruel, but because he knows the perfect moment to reveal it. The period of waiting is not wasted time. It is a time of refinement, of shaping character, of drawing closer to God so that when love does arrive, it will be received with wisdom and gratitude rather than desperation. God often allows seasons of singleness to strengthen faith, develop patience, and deepen understanding of what true love really is. It is in the waiting that people learn to love selflessly, to trust fully, and to rely on God rather than another person for fulfillment. Those who rush into relationships out of loneliness or impatience often find that they are not yet ready for the love they so eagerly sought. But those who allow God to work in them will find that when the time comes, they will not only be given love, but will be prepared to love well. When God finally brings two hearts together, the timing will make sense in a way that hindsight reveals, but foresight never could. What once felt like a delay will be seen as divine orchestration. The doors that were once closed will be recognized as protection rather than punishment. Love that comes in God's perfect timing carries a peace that rushed love never could. It does not come with striving, anxiety, or regret, but with a deep assurance that it was always meant to be. Those who trust in the Lord will never find themselves with a love that arrives too late, but exactly when it was intended. Love is not a matter of fate, nor is it some cosmic force that brings two people together without their involvement. God does not simply dictate relationships while people remain passive observers, nor does he force anyone into love. Instead, he invites his children to trust him while also using wisdom and discernment. Love is a partnership with God requiring both faith in his guidance and the willingness to make choices that honor him. While he orchestrates divine meetings and prepares hearts, he also grants free will, allowing each person to respond to his leading with obedience or resistance. A soulmate is not simply discovered as if written in the stars, but is recognized through a heart that has been attuned to God's voice and a mind that seeks to align with his will. Many people misunderstand God's role in relationships, believing that if he has chosen someone for them, then love should happen effortlessly without struggle or decision-making. This mindset removes personal responsibility and turns love into something that is entirely predetermined. But love is a choice that must be made daily. Even when God introduces two people, they must still commit to learning, growing, and loving in a way that reflects Christ. A relationship centered on Him does not mean that difficulties will not arise, but it does mean that both individuals will seek to navigate them with grace, humility, and dependence on God, rather than merely following fleeting emotions. Faith and wisdom must work together in love. Some rely only on faith, assuming that if God wants a relationship to happen, it will unfold without effort, while others rely solely on their own reasoning, making choices based on attraction, compatibility, or worldly standards without seeking God's direction. Both extremes can lead to frustration and heartache. Faith allows a person to trust in God's perfect timing and plan, while wisdom enables them to make sound choices and recognize whether a relationship is truly from Him. The process of finding a soulmate is not about waiting passively, but about being led by the Spirit, while using the mind and heart God has given to discern what is right. God will never force someone into a relationship that is not in alignment with His will, nor will He override a person's choices. Some people may miss out on God's best for them because they are unwilling to wait, unwilling to grow, or unwilling to trust. Others may recognize His leading, but allow fear, doubt, or worldly distractions to cloud their judgment. But those who seek Him above all else, who are willing to surrender their own plans, and who approach love with both faith and wisdom, will find that He is faithful in guiding them. Love is not about stumbling into the right relationship by accident, but about walking intentionally in God's will, trusting that He knows what is best, and choosing to love in a way that reflects His character. When two people align their hearts with His, love becomes not just a feeling, but a divine calling fulfilled through obedience and trust. When God introduces you to your soulmate, it is never by accident or mere coincidence. It is a carefully orchestrated plan that unfolds in His perfect timing, according to His divine purpose. Love is not simply about finding someone who makes you happy, but about discovering a partnership that reflects Christ, refines character, and glorifies God. It is not a passive experience where we sit idly by, nor is it a race to be won by human effort alone. It is a journey of trust, surrender, and preparation. God's love story for you is not rushed or random, it is intentional. He allows seasons of waiting, moments of refinement, and even trials to shape you into the person who can love well and be loved well. He does not bring two people together just for their comfort, but for their calling, so that their love may serve as a testimony of His faithfulness. When we trust Him, we find that the right person comes not a moment too soon or too late, but exactly when He has prepared both hearts to receive each other. So, as you seek love, let it not be in desperation or fear, but in faith. Trust that God knows what He is doing, even when the road seems uncertain. Be patient in the waiting, faithful in the preparation, and willing to surrender your own plans in exchange for something far greater. When His hand is in your love story, it will not only bless your life, but will also bless others, pointing back to the one who is the very source of love itself. May you walk in His wisdom, embrace His timing, and trust that He who created love is also the one who will lead you to it in the most beautiful way. Thank you, and may God bless you on this journey.